one stage we said, okay, we all go back to the universities and we do online teaching. And then another day we said, okay, we all go back to contact classes, and we just teach and go home. So there's a lot of confusion still around how do we go about our daily activities teaching our students? How do we face our students? How do we go about dealing with our masters and doctorates and research scholars in not only in South Africa, but I think this is also worldwide, affecting each and every teacher and scholar. Very importantly, balance. Balance is the key to everything. What we do, what we say, what we eat, what we feel, they all require some kind of awareness. And through this awareness, we can grow. Now, we need to know that we have to strike a balance between work and life. Because we've been working from home from March, which is six months now, I think the only thing that we think about is work, 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 and we don't know when to switch off. And even at night when you lay in bed, you keep thinking about work. And in that instance, you're making your life aspect suffer as well. So you need to take time off to concentrate or strike a balance between your life and between your work. The effects of lockdown. Now, when this started, and I know when we are back at the universities and schools are back to normal here as well, and when we went on lockdown, most of the employees thought it was an extended holiday, and but others were feeling the effects of lockdown. When we went back to the university after 6 months, it was proven that people were on holiday because there was nothing, no work that was done online from the teacher's point of view or from the student's point of view as well, which means that we needed to start from March. All the work that was supposed to be covered from March, we needed to start with it all over again. Now, the effects of this, I mentioned previously, is that many people were laid off from their jobs, and is currently happening as well. Employees' salaries were cut. People could not make ends meet, therefore had to downscale in their lifestyle. Poverty in South Africa increased drastically. Because of this lockdown as well, we saw crime has increased here. But right now, our focus is on how to handle the situation we are feeling and how to find a balance between work and life. It's all well and good. We want to improve our career. We want to make a life for ourselves in the career that we want to pursue. But obviously, if we keep on working, 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 we become very dull people if we do not strike a balance with life. So how do we handle the situation going forward? We need to find a balance when working from home. And as we go on in our presentation, I would show you that working from home has its advantages and disadvantages. Now, we know that working from home is where any person that does or does not require a person to commute to the office. So the time that you used to sit in traffic, spend driving in traffic, at the time that you use at the office to make small talk with your colleagues, have all reduced, because that time you can use and focus on your time at home, on your work. However, you need to make sure that you strike that balance between work and your lifestyle as well. If you remember previously, before March, There was a time when working remotely wasn't even a possibility. No one thought about working remotely except there's one university here in South Africa, which is international, and it's called UNISA, that is University of South Africa. They were the only institution that was online or distance education. But previously, none of the contact universities even thought of working remotely. However, due to the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, most organizations have opted to work remotely in order for the organizations to still be productive and make a profit for the employees, so the employees can earn their salaries at the end of the month. Now, organizations apart from universities and schools are also opting to continue working remotely and also thinking of this permanently as well. Remember, working from home is not limited to one sector of the population. It affects everyone, and we've known this from March, that men, women, children, parents, that is young and old, can all participate in remote learning. And there's been so much of different platforms for remote learning to take place. Working remotely or learning remotely, teaching online as well, is a learning curve and a new lifestyle now, which many employees have been wishing and waiting for, because they can strike that balance that they have always been missing. The pandemic has changed the way people see life and the way people do things. People become more aware now of where they go, how they behave, and how do they carry themselves out. Previously, people should just walk in groups, party till late, but now all of them have become so aware of what they do that they have to really think twice or even thrice before they can engage in any activities. School creches, nursery schools, universities as well have all gone online. Um, and we've seen that it took a lot on teachers to put the little ones, that is the grade from creche right up to grade 5 or 6, to really get the hang of going online. And we know previously, the seminars that we used to have now been turned into webinars. So there's no longer seminars that takes place at universities but and schools, but it's all webinars. All the meetings are taking place online, either through Google Meet, either through Zoom or Teams as well. Especially for teachers, there is no barrier anymore between the classroom and the living room, because teachers have found themselves troubleshooting technology and answering messages from parents and students at all odd hours of the day. Now, and we can relate to it because being working from home, you don't know when it is time to switch off. You constantly want to see what emails come through. We can work through early hours of the morning, just making sure that all our work is up to date. And in that particular instance, what suffers is our lifestyle. We neglect our lifestyle, we neglect ourselves, and we continue to make ourselves suffer because we want to be productive and we want to be 100% sure that we are doing our work effectively and efficiently from home. Um, we always will have this work family conflict or family work conflict that would either lead to job satisfaction and to life satisfaction. And if you can see the picture there, we will always have that tug of war or that struggle of always trying to satisfy our job or our work family conflict. As much as we want to make sure that we want to be 100% satisfied in our job, we also need to make sure that our health is also 100% satisfied. Because if we do not take care of ourselves, then our jobs will eventually suffer and we cannot make that 100% satisfaction on our jobs. Remember, life is all about balance. You don't always need to be getting stuff done. Sometimes it's perfectly okay and absolutely necessary to shut down, kick back, and just do nothing. And I've realized that with this working online and remotely, teachers are constantly in front of the computers. Students are trying as well to satisfy their lecturers when it comes to research. Even on the weekends, which is Sundays and Saturdays, teachers do not want to shut down. They do not want to do anything for themselves, but just want to continuously work and work to prove to management, yes, they are making a difference and they are taking a stance in their job. And I can understand, because their job, they are insecure about what the future holds for them, and they're insecure about the layoff and the retrenchments. But I want to remind you again, you have to strike a balance between work and life. As you can see, the picture shows there that work and life, your life balance is about work and money and home and family as well. Remember, your home and family will suffer if you concentrate solely on work and money. So you need to make sure that in your home and family, you try to make sure that you rest well, that you travel, that you meet your friends, together with making analysis and counting and making money and working. Work stress, life balance brings about a lot of work stress, where we have work role conflict, where workers are given different and incompatible roles at the same time. So they juggle the work role conflict that they've given by their employees. And most of us will experience this now, because going back going back to work or still working from home, we are given more responsibilities, more roles to play than when we at the office, which also leads to work role overload, where the total demand for time and energy associated with activities of multiple tasks that are too much for a person to handle. So sometimes we've given a lot of role or more tasks to handle than we can expect. That also leads to work stress. Your work role ambiguity as well, where one's responsibility and degree of authority is unclear. Sometimes management is not clear on the communication that they send us, which keeps us so undecided and unclear of how to respond to our students, of how to respond to our employees as well, of the way, or the way in the future of how to handle working remotely in the future. However, technology now allows people to connect anytime, anywhere, and to anyone in the world from almost any device. And we are experiencing it now, that we can connect with you from South Africa to India with all the different technologies that we have that came about during the COVID-19. This has dramatically changed the way people work, facilitating 24/7 collaboration with colleagues who are dispersed around different time zones, countries, and continents. Remote work isn't a privilege or a special accommodation. It's a way of working now. And we all should and need to get used to this way. It gives us some kind of flexible workspace and helps us to force our energies on work and life opposed by commuting or other geography complications as well. Now, remember that we as teachers, I can understand that I think India is still on working remotely with teachers, and the kids are not back in school. And however, here in South Africa, we are all back in school. And yes, I must tell you, it is a stress, because we're not sure whether our children will get infected and bring the infection home. So that is still a stress for us as it goes on. However, we still have to embrace that there will come a time that the kids still work remotely, because It's every second day now that the kids go to school, and the days that they are home, they still have to be online, and the teachers still communicate with them remotely. Very importantly, we know the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And Maslow came out with his millennium perspective on the digital needs, where his psychological needs, if you can see, his psychological needs deals more with Wi-Fi, laptop, and etc., and cell phones, etc. Your safety needs now has changed to Google Maps or Google. Your belonging and love needs are your Facebook, your Twitter, your Skype, and your WhatsApp. His esteem needs, as you can see there as well, is Twitter and Snapchat, and his self-actualization needs, which was on his previous hierarchy of needs, which was the highest level needs. Yeah, it's your YouTube and your Pinterest as well. So you can see that how time has changed the Maslow's hierarchy of needs to the more digital needs of our millennium perspective. We can see how times has changed. And yes, the online learning and online teaching are here to stay. And this is how our newer generation perceive their needs. In order for us to make sure that we can work effectively, the following needs to be provided by our organizations. Organizations need to support your remote learning. We need proper equipment, laptop, printer, scanner to make sure that we do our job effectively. The internet access is very important as well. Here in South Africa, that's a major challenge for us because a lot of the data charges are very expensive here. So when we were working remotely, students and kids as well in schools and at universities had that challenge because they could not access the internet, which to access the so-called university web page to see what work has been done. They could not access the classes that has been being online as well. So we need to make sure that we have proper internet and data usage as well. Your telephone access. Now, if we teachers and lecturers are working from home, it's very importantly that we have the telephone access because obviously we want to phone our colleagues to bounce off ideas with them. The different communication apps to be made available. And you will see, I will speak on the different communications app a little later. Very importantly, working online requires trust. We need to trust each other. The organization needs to trust its employees to make sure that they are performing its job effectively and efficiently. Clear expectation and deadlines need to be given to the employees. Here we sign a work from home in South Africa, a work from home form, and on a monthly basis, we need to make sure that we have clear expectation and what are our deadlines that we need to meet at that month end for the organizations. And testing remote working with employees. We need to constantly test that we all on the same page, that we can all meet either through Teams, through Zoom, through Google Meet, etc. So these are all aspects that can make an organization effective when we want to work remotely. However, your family, your career, your health, and friends all strike a life balance. What's lost in the process of life balancing during this pandemic? It's a circle which is me, us, and the catching up. When it comes to me time, you need to forcefully take a break. There's no buts or ands when it comes to me time. And as I said previously, that it is very very apt for us to continue working through long hours in the day where we cannot shut down. But there is a time there we have to forcefully take a break. We can watch some stand-up comedy videos, our favorite movies or favorite sports, just to have that me time with our families. Also, taking a stroll on the terrace in the evening, the breeze, or taking a stroll on the streets as well, just to clear mind and just to forget all about work and the stress that is associated with work. Or any other customized strategy that you can find to help you relax. I know yoga is another method in order to help you relax. Cycling or jogging can also help you to relax. Very importantly, you need to engage with some kind of activity just for you to break away from the office and just for you to take and have that me time. The next one is your us time that you have with your family. You're taking a family time. It can be anything. You're playing games indoors or outdoors as a family, having some kind of competition as well with your family. And again, any customized strategy that can help you have that us time. Remember, during this time, during this lockdown and during this pandemic, the family also suffers. The family also suffers and does not have the attention from each other. And what happens in the end? We feel some kind of distancing between each family member. So it's very important to have this us time and catching up with the missed fun with friends. Take talking to a friend who just listens to us and listens to whatever we want to say about either work or family. Helping our mentees take their break, take mentees to break their stress as well, or any other customized strategies as well. Remember, catching up with your friends is very important because at times you can talk very freely to your friends than to either your spouses or your children. There's some things that your spouse won't understand related to your work, but your friends would understand. So you have to have that catching time with your friends as well. Some of the struggles that teachers and research scholars and tutors experience, and it's very apt, and I think it's all over the country as well, that the struggle that happens amongst this group of people, which is collaborating and communication during the lockdown and during online learning and teaching. We can see that 17% of individuals say that they had difficulties or struggles to collaborate and communicate with maybe either their peers or family as well. 19% of employees felt the loneliness. And yes, we know that working from home, and especially if you do not have family at home, can be very lonely. You miss that interaction where you had it at the office, where you can just walk into your colleague's office and talk to them about anything, either relating to work or to your personal. And yes, you do feel that loneliness when working from home. And we can all agree to the next one, where 22% of our individuals says unplugging after work. It was never done where we unplug. We did not know when it was time to stop when we were working from home. And in that instance, what happens? Yourself suffers in this process and procedure. So we have to, working from home, we have to unplug, even if it's just for 2 to 3 hours, just to have your time to yourself and to your family. 10% says that there were a lot of distractions at home. And yes, I will agree. It's a lot of distractions when you're working from home because you want to know what's happening outside. You want to know what's happening. There's noise at your neighbor's house, or your children are being distracted at home because you need to see to them getting online. You need to see to their meals as well. So, and you need to see the chores at home. So there's a lot of distractions at home. So I understand it becomes a major challenge for us to work from home. 8% said it was very difficult staying motivated. Yes, because when you're at home and you're not focused at home, to stay motivated is very, very difficult. You really need to lock yourself up and take away whatever surrounds you in order to stay motivated. And as I said, we have a problem in South Africa with Wi-Fi and data usage. And 3% said that reliable Wi-Fi was a challenge to them, that getting onto the internet or getting onto the work in the morning was a problem. Yes, where we are here at the university did provide us with so-called APN, but it was so unreliable that most of the time it was not working, which made us more stressed and made us work more longer hours because of the challenge of an unreliable modem. 7% said taking vacation was a struggle as well because there was no place to go. During lockdown, everything is under lock. So where do we go? Where do we take vacation and go? Which also affects our stature, which also affects our mind, because at certain period in the year, we were so used to holidays where we can just shut down and just make a visit either to family or just take a trip to the beach or visit people. But here we could not do anything, which affected our mindset as well. Remember that the biggest struggle with working remotely stems from the blurred lines between work and personal life. So we have to again strike a balance between work and personal life. There's nothing stopping us from picking up the phone and communicating with colleagues at work or collaborating with our colleagues that we used to internationally as well. We can also do away with the loneliness if we want, if we think we're feeling lonely. Pick up the phone and talk to your colleagues, or also just take a walk and talk to your neighbors outside. So there are ways of us to get rid of the challenges or struggles that we experience as working remotely. Very importantly, to make sure that we did not neglect ourselves and we strike that balance between work and life, it's very important that we concentrate on our well-being. And this is called the wheel of well-being, which we concentrate on our physical, mental, and our psychological well-being. When it comes to our physical well-being, we look at exercising, at yoga, eating healthy food, and some kind of hobbies that we like to do. Now, when we started working remotely, and it was also new and overwhelming, and I think above all that much more stressful. um, I started, I think, which was late, which was after 4 to 5 months in the lockdown. I started deciding, let me start exercising and engaging in hobbies as well. That is a time where I know I can take care of myself and have that me time. So I can concentrate on me and not getting stuck and plugged to the computer where you constantly not having time to relax and constantly thinking about what is happening back at the office. Then we have our mental well being, where you have to take care of your mental health, your stress busters, and your family time. Taking care of your mental health just helps you talking with your mentors, just helps talking with your colleagues or your friends or your family as well. These all can improve your mental well being. Your psychological well-being, here as well, you do some kind of creative task, painting or some kind of a task that will help you relieve your stress. You're talking to your mentors again can help you to relieve that. Being mindful of your surrounding, being mindful of the task that is set before you can also help in your psychological well-being. Challenges. There's four challenges that this pandemic has brought to us, being teachers, being scholars, being students as well. And from a teacher's point of view, I think it's productivity, where because we were so new in this whole working from home, that our remote workers are struggling to stay productive because they find it hard to find a balance between work and home, juggling family responsibilities and work. It's a new concept for many in South Africa. Therefore, they find it hard to adjust to the work and family responsibilities, which is understandable. That productivity will take a knock, where they will probably, in the first few, should I say, first few weeks or 2 months, productivity will not be as effective as in the office. And we have experienced that production efficiency did take a knock during this time of the year. Another challenge is a sense of belonging. um, we feel that working from home is working in silos. There's a sense of loneliness and isolation because they do not have their colleagues, as I said, around them to bounce off ideas or just sit and talk of in their offices in general. Some individuals feel very comfortable to make small talk with their colleagues because at home it's a different ball game altogether. It's just a rat race at home. If you have kids, you will know that you need to see to them from time to time. You need to see to their homework. So there's no time for you to feel that sense of belonging. There's no time for you to take a break or sit back, except maybe when it's midnight, where that's a time that you can take a break and relax after all your household chores are done. So being back at the office also makes you feel a bit wanted, makes you feel that sense of belonging that you have missed when you were working at home. Another challenge is overall work satisfaction. Now, we know that young newly remote workers were less satisfied with working from home because everything happened so fast and they did not get a chance to adapt and set up their home office that they can be comfortable in. Now, there's a lot of instances where when we left the office in March, and I think we went on a week's break, and we were expecting to go back to the office. But that did not happen. And what happened to most of our colleagues at the university is that they left all this stuff at the office: the textbooks, the laptops, everything that was supposed to be working from home, everything was left at the office, and we were in total lockdown. Suddenly, we were not given a warning, which made it very difficult. So we had to apply for each staff member to go in just to collect their belongings so that they could be working from home. And then that took a time because they had to set themselves up, get used to the fact that they have been working at home, make themselves familiar with the new working from home policy, make themselves familiar with the new programs of how to communicate as well with each employees, which took them a while. And therefore, the satisfaction was not as high as was in the office. And again, this affected their efficiency and affected their productivity while working from home. Online learning as well. For some students without reliable internet access and technology, they struggle to participate in digital learning. This gap is seen across countries and between income brackets within countries as well. In many countries, there's a huge, significant gap between those from the privileged and disadvantaged background, which is very prevalent in South Africa. So we've seen that those that are from the backgrounds or privileged backgrounds that can afford it, we're very up to date with what was happening on the online platforms. We're very up to date with logging on for their class lectures as well. But those from the disadvantaged, we have also seen that they have done nothing. They are so behind that they are still stuck on in March and have not moved forward, which puts more stress on teachers and our lecturers for them to start now from the March to make sure that they catch up with everything that they have missed right now in October. The transition of teachers, research scholars, and students to new way of teaching. And these are the new platforms or some of the new platforms that are used, which is our Teams, our Zoom, our Skype, our Google Meet. There's also a Facebook Meet as well. So these are the different platforms that the pandemic has brought into schools, into universities for our research scholars and our students to move forward. How do we overcome this challenge that we are currently experiencing? The previous slide I showed you, which is our collaboration tools, can help our newly remote workers to adapt. They also help to feel a sense of belonging. People feel more valued and no longer feel like they work in silos. They also feel some kind of satisfaction when they can communicate and bounce off ideas with colleagues, thereby increasing the productivity. When we started early in March, it was kind of difficult for me as well because I needed to bounce off ideas between different colleagues just to make sure that whatever management is asking, that I can respond to them. And it became very difficult until I got the hang of how Zoom works and how Teams work, which made life so much easier because I could call up a meeting anytime with on Zoom and speak to the colleagues involved and make a decision. So the collaboration tools really helped smooth the transition from or the transition at working remotely from home. Factors that help employees balance work and life. And I mentioned that in my previous slides where we found a balance between the me, the us, and the togetherness, where we have to take breaks. If you feel drained, you need to take a walk, eat a healthy snack, use a some kind of communication tool if you doubt any work related. Now, many employees um, uses the Pomodoro technique. And the Pomodoro technique is where you choose a task to do and you work on that task for about 25 minutes. Then you put a check mark on a sheet of paper after 25 minutes are up. You take a 5-minute break. This marks the completion of one Pomodoro sprint. After every 4 Pomodoro sprint, you take a longer break and continue this throughout the day until your workday is over. This technique helps employees come back more focused and decompressed. I myself have tried this out and I must say that it has worked. After I tried it out, I've given it to colleagues as well to try out as well. And they did tell me that it also have worked for them. So I suggest try out this technique and see if it can help you because you have to take your breaks from time to time. You cannot, we as human beings have failed and have put more importance in our work than importance in trying to make ourselves more strong and more fit as well. Um, Also, I think it's very important for us as teachers and research scholars and students to follow a schedule. Now, encourage our teachers and encourage our students to maintain a same schedule they did at the office, following a routine which will help them feel more structured and efficient. When we started off, we were all over the place. We were jumping from one task to the other task, not concentrating and completing a task completely. But when you follow a schedule and you say from 8 to 10 I need to do this, from 11 to and take a break, from 11 to 1 I need to do this, you take your lunch break and you continue throughout the day. If you follow that particular schedule, you will find that your objectives are being met more effectively and more efficiently, and that you try to complete what you have for that particular month, your deadlines that have been set for that month. Very importantly, also to keep a to-do list. What do you have to do in your day? um, they need to write what they want to accomplish each day, so they do not jump from task to task. It is similar to following a schedule, but a to-do list can also include your responsibilities that you have at home as well. Communication with your colleagues is also very important. Um, this is a very vital factor when working from home. Um, you set on daily and weekly meetings where you and your team discuss and prioritize projects, including deadlines, so you can stay on track. Now, this is very, very important, and I felt it being very effective and efficient because currently we are in the process of recalculating our programs, and because we were working from home, meeting on Teams and meeting on Zooms helped us to make sure that we meet our deadlines when it came to recalculation. A major distraction we know is that when you're at home, you constantly want to see who's phoning you. You constantly want to see your text messages that are coming. You constantly want to see um, what's happening outside. Just the thought of working from home poses a big distraction for our employees. And as I said, employees feel that they're on holiday. So yes, taking a nap or taking a power nap during the day, it helps to take your break. But you need to also realize that you're working, and to try and do away with all these distractions in the day. One thing I've also learned that during the course of the day is to try and mute your phone when you have that important work that you need to do. Try and mute your phone so you can concentrate solely on that objective that you have to achieve. Um, they also monitor your progress regularly. From time to time, our progress have been monitored to see if staff are facing any issues or facing any challenges to meet the objectives that have been set for them. And this is very important because we take it for granted that working from home, we would not have any challenges, and therefore no one checks on us if everything is fine. And we get the people that are very introverted, that would not want to pounce on other colleagues or other on management to just say the challenges that they are experiencing. Therefore, it's the responsibility of management and also colleagues to just bounce off and see if everything is working efficiently and effectively for all, not only for employees or students or teachers or lecturers, for our very especially for our students and for our research scholars, because at the end of the day, they are our clients, and we need to meet the demands that they are put forth to us. Um, what we've also noticed is that there's a lot of people that work on their beds or on their couch and stay away, and think that working from there is fine, but that also forms kind of a distraction, because when you work on a bed or a couch, talking from personally, I would not want to concentrate because my head will want to go onto the pillow and then I'm gone to sleep. So try to create a little kind of office space where you can concentrate solely for the objectives that have been set for you on that day. Setting very clear expectation as a manager, as an employee, or as a student, make sure that you have clear objectives and deadlines that are set for yourself. Working from all over the place just confuses you more, just stresses you out more, and puts you in a very confused mindset. So you need to make sure that you have those clear expectations and deadlines that are set. The next one is being transparent. You need to be open and transparent with your team. Where you being open and being transparent will get out the best and increase productivity in that particular department, organization that you are in. You need to tell them the truth. You need to be honest with the employees. You need to be fair to all employees as well. So I think being transparent helps increase productivity. Being also trusting your employees when working from home is very, very important. You need to trust your employees, your friends, and have the trust that they will complete the task that has been given to them. Yes, this is very difficult. um, we've tried it. We've trusted the employees. We've trusted colleagues in the department as well. um, it's difficult to do this at times, but there's no other choice, there's no other option, but you have to. And the only way that we can rectify it is when we go back to the office, we can see what is done and what is not done, and what was not done, then you have to make them to do it again. Socializing with colleagues and classmates. And as I meant that, as I indicated, loneliness and discontent and isolation are problems in working remotely, and especially for extroverts. We know extroverts will continuously want to engage with employees. You'll continuously want to engage with your peers, with your colleagues, etc. So the different types of collaboration tools um, made it so easy for all of us to communicate with each other. And being extroverted makes it even more better because you can pick up the phone anytime and talk to them. Companies with remote work culture usually offers way to socialize, and we said we have the different chat channels as well, and the also the different collaboration tools that came on also makes it much easier. Even an introvert should be able to socialize at times. We know introverts are not very interested in socializing, but just to get that work pressure out, just to bounce off ideas and make sure that you're on the right track, they also need to socialize at certain times. This is the thing that I think we need to make sure, where we need to strike a balance. This factor we should not go to, where we need to avoid burnout. And we can avoid this burnout when we strike that equal balance between life and between work. Yeah, remote workers tend to be productive. We work much longer hours. We take very fewer vacations than their in-office counterparts. The lack of clear boundaries between work and home is a major concern when they work on urgent projects, because long hours are how they demonstrate that they are team players. Instead of being less stressed by working at home, remote workers often feel overwhelmed and at risk of burning out. This is something that we need to avoid, and therefore we need to strike that balance between life and work. by following the Pomodoro technique, by following the me and the us, will help you strike that particular balance and also overcome this point where we avoid burnout. Teachers, research scholars, and students' perspective. South Africa, like many other developing countries, we're not ready for this pandemic. And when it came to remote, especially when it came to remote learning, the virus forced many businesses, and we know, and office employees to resort to working from home in order to keep operations going. And it is still currently happening at this very moment. However, unfortunately and sadly, this trend is continuing and will even continue into the future. So, this is like a new normal to us where we need to become used to having a workstation at home. This may pose possible threats to property industry and offices as well, because if you are renting a property as an office, then obviously you're going to work from home. You're going to give up the rent, and that's going to have a negative effect on the property industry. So we have to face reality that this is going to be the new normal for us, and we don't know where we are at the moment, because talks about a second wave will be hitting the countries. So likely we will go on to another lockdown, and where will everything will start happening in a cycle again, where will we start working from home again. Employees have found ways to even be productive at home than at work and do not waste time in the traffic. However, as I said, it took about a month, and now we can call this the new normal. And yes, I agree that here in South Africa, we spend at least about 3 to 4 hours sitting in traffic, just going and coming from work. So, in that 3 to 4 hours, we log onto the computer and we're much productive in that time than sitting in traffic. We have our mixed feelings when it comes to working remotely, and the Giant Leap director Linda Trim in her survey showed that 86% of people want to go back to the office, and reasons were being because of life balance, feelings of isolation, and difficulties in carrying out team tasks, many as missed co-workers as well. But here our focus is on life balance. We have to strike that balance between life and work. We have to make sure that we become disciplined and we take that break for us to be more focused on what the task has been set before us. The biggest benefit from working remotely is that 32% feel that they have the flexible schedule. They have the flexibility to work from anywhere and not having to commute, 21%. 11% said the ability to spend time with family. 7% ability to work from home, and 3% said it was others. Yes, I agree with that, because in that flexible schedule that we have from working from home, we do not have to employ nannies to take care of the kids. We did not have to put our kids in after school or after care at school. So we have the flexibility of picking them and coming home, sitting with them and constructing on them how to start their homework. I help them in their homework as well. In between that, we also have time that we can do our cooking or any other activities that we need to see to. So yes, working from home helps us tremendously, and takes a lot of pressure or rush out of our day when it's a normal working day at the office. However, the struggle with working from home is that 20% said they had collaboration and communication problem. 20% also said they had the feeling of loneliness.
Yes, madam.
80,
Yes, yes.
yes,
Sorry for the
yes.
interruption.
Mhm.
You conclude, madam. Only we have few minutes are there. Uh,
Oh, okay.
go through fast, madam. We will go for the questions and answers, madam.
Okay.
Finish.
Let me rather conclude with life balancing tips
Yes,
then.
yes.
Um, I'm not sure why it is. Okay. In order to succeed as a remote worker or as a student, following these 10 steps will help you effectively work from home, where you experiment with setting up a workstation for yourself. You need to create work and home boundaries where you have clear deadlines set. Prepare for your meetings. Make sure that you're well in advance prepared for your meetings. You create accountability for yourself. You need to create your schedules or to-do list for you to do for that particular day, and have it scheduled for months as well. You need to be visible at work when you're working from home. Make sure that you log onto your screen and onto the meeting apps as well. um, Communicate clearly and effectively. Very importantly, I found out that you need to communicate daily with your research scholars and your students, and at least 3 times or 2 times in a week with your colleagues as well. To strike a balance, you need to work on your health issues as well. That is, you take your breaks in between and you strike your balance between your life and your work. You're setting your clear responsibilities for yourself. Talk to your team and take time to socialize as well. Remember that socializing and working on your health helps you to strike that balance between work and home. Just to leave you with a quote, work is a rubber ball. If you drop it, it will bounce back. The other four balls, which is family, health, friends, and integrity, are made of glass. If you drop one of these, it will irrevocably scuffed, nicked, perhaps even shattered. So, in conclusion, I would like to say that if you neglect yourself, you're not going to get back that self that you once was. But if you neglect or try to put your job on hold, your job will always be there. Or if it's not there, then you will always get another job. So you have to make sure that you take care of yourself, and you take care and strike that balance between work and yourself. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, madam. You enlightened us. Really, you motivated us. Many here in this webinar, many teachers, scholars, and students are there. Really, you motivated us. This is a time for the questions and answer. Dear participants, you don't bother. We will share feedback form. If you don't get feedback form, if you don't get certificate, I will assist you. Don't be hasty. This is time for the questions and answer. A madam from South Africa, very eminent professor. If you want to discuss anything, if you have any question, you ask madam. Madam will give answer. Yes, carry on.
Yeah, good morning. And
Yes, yes, sir.
yeah, good morning. My name is Abdul Kadir and calling from University of Maiduguri,
Yes, sir.
Borno State, Nigeria. I want to acknowledge the presentation of our able presenters. You have done well, and it's very, very informative. And
Yes.
I want to tell you that it will go a long way in improving our perception of the general concept of the COVID-19 and the life after COVID-19. My question is, how will you go away by actually moving with your activities in the house, particularly working at home? Your children are there, your wives are there, your visitors are coming, and the rest. Usually when you're about to start something, you will just hear a knock, and then somebody will say, okay, yeah, daddy, you are needing outside, or mommy say that you should do that, and so on and so forth. And I think think it will be very difficult for us, particularly in Nigeria, that we have a lot of things, particularly in the university. As a university lecturer, you have a lot of things to do. I think we will not be comfortable working in the house. And I wanted to suggest, if really there is no way I can do, I must have to work in the house. How can I improve myself so that I will not get this distraction? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Anybody? Yeah.
can I respond, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that question. I totally can relate to that question as well. Up until I think it was on Monday, where I still had my kids at home. And believe me, it was not easy to have them at home because they're still young and they need your total attention. And with regard to making sure that you would work, luckily, when it comes to your job, the organizations need to be a bit more flexible with the turnaround time for replying of emails, and also of deadlines of certain of your responsibilities. So what happens there is I can suggest that when it's peak time for yourself, that you probably give your children some kind of activity that they can do, and explain to them that you've got a meeting, and also that or you've got some important work that needs to be attended to, and you attend to your work, but make sure that they have that activities that they can concentrate on, that won't disturb you. That is what I currently do here. And I see, when it comes to me giving them to watch a bit television in that time, that takes their attention and transfers their attention onto the television or some kind of on the phone when they have that time to play, and then I have a total time for myself to concentrate. If not, then I also respond to certain emails after hours, maybe 6 o'clock as well, just to make sure that I'm on par with all the deadlines. So you have to see which is the best time will suit you well, either early mornings, or I know during the day, during the course of the day, it's a bit difficult because you have to take care of your household chores, such as your kids as well. And then maybe after 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening, that you can also attend to your work. When it comes to visitors, I understand visitors just rock up at any time, but I think if you certainly put it that you're working from home and you have certain time free, then they can visit you during those hours there.
Yes. Dear participants, so soon we are going to organize e-FDPs, e-workshops on SPSS and research method, US, different softwares are there. SaaS we are going to conduct on that. We update our Telegram apps and WhatsApp groups. Don't left from the group. If you left from that group, you will lose information. Thank you. Anybody can share your opinion. You can ask question. Madam will share her opinion regarding the how to do work from home. Madam will interact with us.
Um, so I can also leave my email address with you.
Yes,
If you probably got it, maybe you can share it with everyone
yes.
that was on.
Madam, you do one thing, madam. You share PPTs to me. I will share to the participants.
Will do. I will
Yes,
do
Amita,
that.
madam. Amita, madam. Yes, madam will ask
Hello.
something. Yes, madam.
Madam, good afternoon. It was a wonderful, no, the survey that you have done and then given the statistics of it. I would like to ask one question, ma'am. How do you balance your work life so that you are very effective in your life, like the way you handle your things? What is that mantra that you use in your life to balance?
Ma'am, thank you for that question. I must say that for the past 6 months, I've been trying really different things to try to balance that, and I think, and I must say that I'm guilty because I never took care of myself for maybe the first 3 months. I've neglected to take care of myself. So I used to get up in the morning and do the daily routine, start with my work, and maybe right up to 10, 11 o'clock at night, still be on in front of the computer. But it came to a stage where I felt I was going to burn out. I felt that my body cannot take it anymore. So I needed to shut down at a certain time. So I used to log on during normal working hours, which was from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And when it comes to 4 p.m., I used to shut off completely, do my daily chores, spend my time, or have that me time for myself. Then have the us time, and also then talk to my family and friends that are in different provinces as well. But very importantly, I also started to take my walks and my jogs with my family in the evenings. So that helped me as well. If I see, once I've finished all that and I see, okay, maybe let me just switch on my computer just to check maybe emails or attend to my private work, but not work related, then I used to do that. But otherwise, I used to lock off at 4 o'clock, and that was it. And whatever emails or whatever work that comes in, then it must wait for the next day.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
ma'am. Very nice to hear that.
Yes. Anybody?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Participants. Yeah. Yes. Any questions? If you want to share something? Yeah, somebody's. If you don't have any question, we can wind up our session. Madam, shall we wind up?
Yes, we can wind up. I'm happy.
Yes. Any questions?
No questions, sir.
Yes, you can. Just now I shared feedback form. You can fill it. Thank you very much, madam. You motivated us. Thank you very much, madam. We are looking forward in future also more lectures from you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. No, it will be my privilege to do that, to present with you as well. And also, as I said, that maybe later on a statistics
Yes,
course
sure.
as well.
Dear participant, be update in our groups. Don't leave from the groups. Thank you very much. You can leave now. Thank you very much, madam. I will
Thank you, everyone. Thank you a lot.
You can leave now, participants.
Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. You can leave, sir.
Can I leave, sir?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Yes, madam. Thank you very much.